So in today's video we're going to go over how this side of my lawn is good, this side of my lawn is bad, the issues that I have and what I'm going to do to hopefully correct them. So last year I put down Scott's Contractor Blend grass seed, not really reading the label properly, understanding what I was putting down. It contains a lot of annual ryegrass in that mix. So what I've got now is where that annual ryegrass was. I think that's why I have a bunch of bare spots on my lawn. Now those bare spots now, because we've had a couple of warm weeks, are now filled in with weeds. Great. It's April 2nd, it's still not warm enough for me to seed yet or overseed yet. I'm thinking in another couple of weeks then I should be good. So I've got to kind of control that. So that's problem number one. Problem number two, I have some mushroom type things. I thought I got rid of them last year. I think there were a lot of trees in this yard from speaking to the neighbours that have been taken down, and then the mushrooms are growing out of the trees. I did a little bit of research and didn't fully understand it. It was too kind of biology, sciencey for me, but that can happen from the tree stumps. Third thing, I have a lot of moss on this side of my yard. This side of the yard, south side, a lot of trees up here. It was last to defrost, last for the snow to melt, so it just doesn't get a lot, so I think it stays a little bit damp. So kind of from here, probably about halfway across my yard, the moss starts and it gets worse as it heads over towards this side. Here's just a little bit, so we're going to treat that as well. And at the same time, I'm going to treat for insects. I found some grubs underneath some soil and moss over this side. I think it's just an isolated situation. We found some ticks and fleas out already. We've been clearing out a lot of the yard around here. You'll see over here, it's all cleared out. It's actually all the way up there. So here you can see the weeds filling in here. I'm not familiar with a lot of weeds, but we've got that there. Got some more there. And then let me see if I can find where the mushrooms are. Up right here. There's the mushroom. It looks awful. So I'm assuming there's a tree stump there. It's really where the moss starts to get bad, from this way over to the north side, south side of my yard here. And it just gets worse as I go over. So here are the three products that I decided to use in this situation. I did my own research here. I'm no expert on any of these products, so I'm not going to give you any advice on how to apply them, if they're correct for you, or when you should use them, but I have reviewed these and I believe these are the best things that I can use right now. So for the insect control, I have gone for the Spectricide Triazicide. I actually used the Spectricide weed stop on my fall overseeding, and I think it performed excellent. So I am going to stick with that same range of products. So we're going to use that for the insect control. We're going to move on to the Moss X, Scott's Moss X, for the moss control. Never used this before. I think this might be my first Scott's product. Maybe I've used fertilizer before. So we're going to see how this works. Read some good reviews on this. Picture on the front. Hey, if it does that, I'll be extremely happy. And on the left there we have Tenacity. That's what I'm going to use for my weed control. So post-emergent and pre-emergent. So post-emergent, before I overseed, I'm going to go and spray the weeds that I just showed you then, and then when I come to overseeding, I will use it as a pre-emergent as well. Before you apply any of these, I'd recommend reading the labels and making sure that they're not going to interfere with each other, and which order is best to apply them in. So my plan of action with these three products, so the Triazicide needs to be watered in, so I'm going to use that first so I can turn the sprinklers on. The Moss X is meant to be applied to slightly damp grass that has been mowed. Now the grass is fairly short because I've dethatched, I've done some pickup, so I'm okay with that. The Tenacity has to be applied to dry grass, and it takes a few hours for it to be water resistant or rain resistant, so I'm going to apply that last. So it's fairly early on in the day here, so I'll get Spectricide in. If I don't get to the Tenacity today, I'll get to it tomorrow. So I've got the last two sprinklers on. It's just watering it in, about 15-20 minutes on each zone. They all overlap. I also made sure that there was no rain on the forecast for the next 24 to 48 hours. I don't want any of this to wash away with heavy rain. My new system that I installed last year is doing great. I just need to get my timer set up. This is the first sprinkler use of the year. Might have to winterize them with the cold weather coming up, so it only takes 5 minutes. But we'll let this cycle finish and we'll move on from there. This is a couple of hours later. The grass is still a little bit damp, so we can apply the Moss X onto the areas on this side that require it. So on the bag it says to make sure the lawn is damp and short. This is short and damp. We're good to go. Probably not going to get to the tenacity in this video, so I'll either put that in another video. So I have my Moss X in the spreader, and for the spreader it says about 2 1/4, so that's what I've got there. I might pull it back to 2, sometimes go a little bit lower. So we have the Moss X down, and we've got the bug preventer down next. Trusty shovel, and time to try and dig up this mushroom. See if we can go as deep as possible. I've got some topsoil if need be to fill this hole in, and hopefully we can get rid of this for some period of time. I think it is going to come back. It is a natural occurring mushroom, and when the tree starts to break down under soil once it's been cut down, this can happen. So sometimes you have to be aware of and just come out and just get rid of it as soon as it starts to sprout. So I'm just going to leave that like this. I've dug down, I believe I've got all of it out there, so we'll just come back with some topsoil and fill that in when it comes to the time to overseed. But that concludes everything that needs to be done here. I'll look around and see if there are any more mushrooms that need to be picked up, but I think this is the only one. So that's going to conclude things for this video. We've got our bug preventer down, we've got our Moss X down, we've removed our mushrooms, so we're setting ourselves up plenty of protection against the bugs, and we'll have all the moss should start dying off soon. I will post an update video on that to see what's going on there, and we can overseed in those areas, and we should have some nice green grass going into the summer. If you haven't already, please do check out one of my other videos. They'll both be up on the screen here, and I will catch you on the next video.